we will get started. Okay, so like the thumbnail said, we're going to be making DIY face masks with filter pocket and nose wire. Now, I have to, hey Tara, I have to make this disclaimer. Of course, I am not a doctor. I do not play one on the internet. Basically, I am making this mask for my own reasons. Basically, it's just what makes the most practical sense to me. And so I am not a doctor. I'm not trying to be a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. This is just what makes sense to me. So anyone who's watching, I definitely encourage you to do your own due diligence, do your own research, and make a decision based on what makes sense to you. I was looking on the internet. I know in the beginning of this COVID-19, as we were learning more at the top of the year, people were saying, face masks don't make a difference. You don't need to wear a face mask. But that just really didn't make sense to me, because I feel like some protection is better than nothing. And if nothing else, for me, it's like a reminder when I go out not to touch my face, to make sure that I keep my hands off of my face and, things like that. And then when I come back home, it's also a reminder I have this thing on my face, so now I have to take it off, make sure I wash my hands, things like that. So even if it doesn't help anything or doesn't filter out anything, at least it tells us or reminds us to keep our hands out of our face. Now, what I did was I was reading some of the articles online, and I think this came from either the Washington Post or an NBC article, where they were saying that people were making their own masks and using cotton. And I thought, well, if I make a mask and I put a filter in it, maybe that would help, So that's what I decided to do. I found online, actually I went on eBay and found that some USA sellers were selling, because I'm in my area, I'm in the Chicagoland area, south suburbs of Chicago. You can't buy any face masks. They're all sold out. And also they're wanting to keep the face mask. This is not the medical grade kind, but they are wanting to preserve the face mask for the first responders and the healthcare service people, because they need it more than, the lay people. And I can definitely understand that. So I decided I'll make, for my family, I'll make some that we can wash and reuse and just put a disposable filter. Hey, Carol, we could just put a disposable filter inside and then just throw that away at the end of the day. And then the actual mask, you can just wash it and let it dry and then reuse it. So that's what made the most sense to me. So that's what I decided to do. So I'm going to bring you guys along for a little, hey, Brenda. I'm going to bring you guys along for a little over-the-shoulder DIY as I make the face mask. So here we go. Okay, so the things that we're going to need are, of course, our fabric, and they recommend that you use a non-woven material, and they're also saying that cotton. So me being the crafter that I am, I have a bunch of fabric that I have not used, and so I realized a lot of the materials that are necessary to make the face mask, I already have. So I'm going to use what I have. If I call out a material or a supply that you do not have, let me know, and we can brainstorm some substitutes, because we want to make this accessible to everybody. So first of all, I have a lot of Ankara fabric. So I'm going to be using various pieces of Ankara fabric. If you have, basically any cotton, you can use old t-shirts. If you have old t-shirts, you can use that, will work. Also for the nose wire, I have pipe cleaners. So this you can pick up at the dollar store. And I'm here on Facebook, and then I'm also on YouTube Live. So I'm going to be showing both places. So YouTube, if I did not show you, we have our fabric here, and then we have our pipe cleaners. This will be for the nose piece. And the reason that we're using that is because for those of us, for my friends out there, including myself, that wear glasses, you know, when you put on those face masks, your glasses fog up, and it's so irritating. I always feel like I'm suffocating. So if we can use have a nose wire in there, it'll bend, right? And it will hold its shape. So in theory, when we bend this on our nose, we'll keep the mask closer to our nose, and then that air won't escape upwards. It'll escape downwards and not fog up our glasses. So that's the reason for that. Then I also have my elastic. I have spools of elastic. I'm going to show on Facebook here too. I have spools of elastic. So that's what I'm going to be using. It's very stretchy. So it's perfect for this application. I know, well, I don't know because I have the elastic, but I've heard that elastic is in short supply. It's becoming harder and harder to find. So my workaround for that is that if you don't have access to elastic, take an old shoelace take a shoelace out of a pair of your shoes that you're not wearing, and you can use that and just use that in replace of the elastic that would normally go around your ears. I also have my tools, which is a seam ripper here. That just makes things easier. That's not a must-have. Also have a rotary blade that just makes it easier to cut. Again, a nice to have, not a must have. If you just have, regular scissors, use your regular scissors. If you're a seamstress or a sewer, then you have your fabric scissors that you do not cut paper with. And if you catch anybody in the house cutting paper with your fabric scissors, you will go ham on them. We understand that. Then I also have my pinking shears. Again, and basically, if you don't have to have pinking shears, if you just have regular scissors, that's fine. But the benefit of pinking shears is so that when you cut fabric that tends to fray, when you use your pinking shears, it won't fray and unravel on you. So that's the benefit of having pinking shears. Again, right now, we're using whatever we have. So again, if you need a substitute, just throw a question in there. Brenda's asking, can I get 4 of them? How? I haven't even started making them yet. Oh my goodness. But thank you, Brenda. Tonight is just to show you how to make them. But of course, for my friends out there, yeah, I would be happy to make one for you. So let's get started. I actually cut a piece, and forgive me, you guys, I'm simulcasting on Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. So I'm trying to show in both places. And right now, let's see, I had pre-cut some pieces. So hopefully you can see. Now, when I turn it down like this, it's going to be harder for me to see your comments. So bear with me if, oh, hey, Robert. Bear with me if I don't respond to your comments as quickly. I can't see them that well here. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. And my space is a mess, y'all. Okay. So this piece is just over 7 inches wide by 10 inches long. And so that's the piece that you'll need. Basically, we're going to sandwich 2 pieces together. And this fabric, fortunately, is just as vibrant on both sides. This piece is this fabric is vibrant on both sides. But say you had a piece that was one-sided, meaning the pattern was just printed on one side, and then you had an outside and you had an inside. You would I probably should. So this, I'll show you. So like this piece of camo here, it has an outside and an inside. So this would be the right side and the wrong side. And I'm going to show you too. So this is the right side and the wrong side. So if you're sewing them, actually I should show you with that piece. I'll show you with the camo piece so that you can see exactly what I mean. Okay. So we are, oh, YouTube still won't be able to see my table. I'm sorry, YouTube. I'll just remember to, keep lifting it up to show you. But in this case, we're going to place the two right sides together and make a little sandwich. Okay. And this piece, I'm just going to trim because one piece is a little bit shorter than the other. So to make them even, I'm just going to cut. And again, well, not again, I'm just going to let you know, I have a rotary cutter. So when I do this, the ends won't really fray that much. If I were cutting it by hand, I would use my pinking shears. But long story short, and you couldn't see that. Long story short, we're just cutting a rectangle, a 10 by 7 rectangle. And you see that little piece? That little piece didn't. So this basically means that my blade is getting dull. So I'm just going to clip it with the pinking shears real quick. And so we have our two pieces sandwiched together with the right sides facing each other. Now I'm going to pull out my sewing machine and we'll get to sewing. If you do not have a sewing machine, it's no problem. Just use your needle and thread. And hopefully I have enough left on my bobbin so I don't have to, oh, so good. I'll be able to do this without refilling. So I can at least get through one without needing to refill my bottom. Okay, so this is gonna get loud, you guys. So basically I'm going to sew these two pieces together and leave an opening. I'm gonna leave a little opening so that when I've sewn all the way around, minus the little opening, then I'll be able to turn it inside out and it'll face the right way. Okay, so I'm going to start here because I'll show you what I mean. And hey, now that I think about it, if you have masks, reusable masks like this one that you can wash and reuse, if you have, several people in your family and you have several masks, it's best to write your name on them because you don't want to be sharing masks. So I have a fabric marker here. You can just take whatever, like a Sharpie or whatever, and just write your name on your mask so that you know not to share your mask. And so I just made those two little marks so that I can remember to stop because I don't want to sew in this section. And I'm going to show Facebook. I made two little marks here so that I remind myself not to sew past that so that I can turn it inside out. So here we go. So I'm gonna start here. I'm getting my presser foot ready. Okay. So get ready, cover your ears in case it gets too loud. So just going a little ways, and then I'm going to back stitch so that doesn't come loose later. Oops. Don't make that mistake, y'all. I lifted up my presser foot without making sure that the needle was in the down position. I want to come just a little bit more. And again, make sure the needle is in the down position before I lift up the presser foot. And now, and I'm sorry, YouTube, that you don't have a visual of me actually sewing. I was going to I had it set up so that I could go live on my phone instead of my desktop computer, but for some reason it wouldn't let me. And I should have investigated prior, but I did not, so that's my fault. But next time I will definitely make sure that I have the right setup so you can see. And I'm going to come up to that line, but I'm not going to go across it. And just back stitch just a little bit so that seam doesn't come loose. Okay, so now let me clip off those little extra pieces so that they are not in my way. So now we have our square, or our rectangle rather, that is sewn on the wrong side. So now I'm just going to flip it inside out. And you'll see it's kind of hard to get the corners all the way out. So what I'm going to do is take something long and pointy, which for me happens to be a paintbrush, and I'm just going to poke those corners so I can get the corners all the way out. Okay. Okay, so now we have our square with our opening. And if you want to be fancy, you can press it, with the iron. I'm not going to do that right now in the interest of time. But if you want to be particular, you can. It's up to you. So now we have our rectangle, right? With our opening. Okay. So now I'm going to turn on we can set the sewing machine down for a second. And I'm going to turn on my ironing board. And this is just a little ironing mat that you can, I guess, I don't know if it's for travel or for just if you don't have an ironing board. But it came in handy for this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold this so that we have 3 little pleats. And actually, I should probably sew this, but I'm not. I'm going to cheat. If you guys don't know, this is fusible web. So basically, like say you had a hem that came apart and you don't want to sew it. Maybe you're traveling and you can pick this up somewhere. This is actually just really good to have in general. But basically, you heat this, and you place this in between 2 pieces of fabric, this fusible web, and you heat it, and then it will form a seam. So any place that you would have sewn something, you can use this for an instant melding of the 2 pieces of fabric. So I'm going to cheat and use that instead of sewing this little opening here. Just because I like hacks. So I'm just going to break off a little piece. And you'll see me using that again when I make the loops. I like to use it because sometimes if you pin the sections, like say, for example, I might want to sew this little hole, right? I would first pin it together, like put some straight pins in here to hold it in place while I sew. And that's what you would normally do. But for me, I kind of get lazy and don't feel like taking out the straight pins as I sew. I feel like it slows me down. And sometimes you might forget and you just sew over one, and you definitely don't want to sew over a pin with your sewing machine needles. So this actually I'll use sometimes to just hold that piece in place so that I don't have to use those pins and whatnot. Okay, so now you see, and I had a little gap there, so that's why it's got a wrinkle. But now that you see it's closed, you'll see it's closed now. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this so that it has 3 little seams, and you'll see the face mask start to take its shape. Okay, see that there? And now I'm going to iron it. Sorry, YouTube, I'll show you in a second. I'm going to iron it real quick so that it holds its place. Okay. I'm done with the iron. So I'm taking that out. And now you'll see that it starts to look like the face mask, right? You'll see that it starts to look like the face mask. Now, what we want to do is make sure we have our right side up in terms of orientation with the face mask. So I don't know if this makes a difference. It's just what makes sense to me. I'm going to make sure that the folds are facing down so that like if it were upside down, stuff could get stuck in, catch in here. And I don't want that. I want gravity to make anything that might want to fly and settle in there to fall out. So I'm going to make sure mine is this way. Bringing back the sewing machine. And again, I am being lazy because normally I would, where these pleats are, I would put pins in there to hold it while I sew. But I am winging it, and I'm just going to freestyle. I'm not putting the pins in there right now. Now I'm going to do this one, and if it really gives me a lot of trouble, then maybe I will put the pins in the second one. But for now, I'm just going to wing it and see how it goes. And that wasn't too bad. So I'm going to see if I can do the other one without. And for you real seamstresses, what's the male word for seamstress? Does anybody know? Type a comment if you know. What is the male? What do you call a male seamstress? Does it have an official term? Or should we just start saying seam person to make sure everybody's included? We should say seam person. I don't know. Now I'm going to do the other side. And I turned it over just because, actually, no, I want to go. I'm going to flip it because I want to go with the fold. I don't want to go against it. So I'm just going to put it on this side. Now this is more like a canvas. It's kind of thick, so we'll see. But you see how it has taken on the shape of the face mask now? So now it's time to add our filter, our filter pouch. Let's see. I have a bunch of fabrics over here, so I'm just gonna pick one. Now this is a knit. It's kind of stretchy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this do double duty. And I'm going to let it hold the nose wire as well. So I'm just going to cut it just a little bit longer than the size, a little bit bigger than the size of the face pouch, because I want it to go from here to here. I want it to go, I'm just showing YouTube real quick. I want to cut the extra piece fabric a little bit bigger than the face mask, because I want it to go from top to bottom. And the idea is that we'll be able to slip the filter in between the two sections. Doesn't have to be that much bigger. So I have my little square, and right now I'm just going to go I'm just going to hem the sides real quick. Hi, Eleanor. Hi, Danielle. Sorry if I'm a little slow with the comments, and welcome you guys, because I can't really see them. So now I'm going to take a piece of one of my one of the pipe cleaners. It comes in, I just found this at the dollar store actually. It's 100 pieces and I think it's 12 inches. Let's see. Yeah, it's 12 inches. So that's good size. Because when I fold it in half to make it a little stronger, and I'm just going to twist it a little bit just to make it a little more firm. Because the pipe cleaner wire is not that hard, you know, stiff. So I'm just twisting it a little bit. And this end is sharp. So I'm going to fold it over just to tuck it so that you know, after, you know, washes and stuff, it might poke through. You know how us ladies, we have a bra, our bra wires start to pop out after the bras get old. Same concept here. So I'm just going to tuck that in case that after multiple washes, we don't know how long we're going to have to use these. It might actually be um, the norm, the new norm after this. Oh, my wire is a little too long. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to undo this real quick. See, we're improvising as we go. This was not pre-planned. So we're going to figure it out as we go. So this one was a little too long, right? So I'm just going to come in here and measure, eyeball it so that it is the length of that inner piece. And then I'm going to, again, tuck the two ends because it's poking me right now even. And then I'm going to twist it so that the pieces stay together. And it also makes it more firm as a nose piece. So I'm just going to wrap the top edge. Cut that little piece off. Basically, I'm wrapping the pipe cleaner in that inner pouch piece. I'm wrapping it in here. And then I'm going to stretch it out just a little bit. And this I may have to put a pin in because I want to make sure that I cover. So I'll be right back. Sorry guys, be right back. Had to go get my pins, my straight pins. So we do want to hold this in place. So I won't try to cut corners there. Because I want to come back in and seal the top, I mean the sides, to make sure the pocket that doesn't come out. Should have made it just a little bit shorter. just trying to scoot it as much to the top as possible because I want to make sure that I do not catch it with my sewing machine needle. Really being difficult. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to sew through that straight pin. I'm just holding it there so it would hold it in place. And I've got the needle down into the fabric right now, making sure I know where my piece is. Here we go. I'm going extra slow to make sure. Actually, I'm going to go back a little bit because I wanted to close off this piece here. I got one side of the pipe cleaner closed in. Now I just got to do the other side. I should have started off right there, but I forgot, to be honest. So I'm just going to come back over here. Now this is where it's, well, actually no, after this step. So we have our nose pocket, and when you bend it, it'll hold the shape, right? That's why we did that. So that our friends with glasses, myself included, do not get the foggy glasses because of the face mask, which is like so annoying. So that's why we did that. Now I'm just going to hem the other end of the filter pocket, right? Just going to do a quick stitch down here. And this is knit, so it's starting to pull. I hate that, but what can you do? All right. So now we have our face mask with the filter pocket. So basically when you get the filters, again, I found some on eBay. They sell them in packs of 100. US sellers, which means you'll get them a lot faster than if you ordered from overseas. Um, when you get the filter pocket, and I won't know the exact size until I actually get them. So hopefully this is the right size. But you'll just slide the filter in here. And again, let me show you too. So we've made our face mask with our filter pocket. And when you get the filter pocket, you just slide it in here. And the idea is that this will be wash and reuse, the face mask itself, but the filter pocket, the filter, you'll just use once and discard. Those are disposable, but this you'll wash and reuse. So now this is when it gets interesting, because we are going to attach the ear portion, the ear elastic, right? And again, I'm doing this as I go, so we'll see how this turns out. Will it be a win or will it be a fail on live social media? I don't know. So we shall see. Hi, Miss Suzanne. Hey, LaQuinton. Long time no chat. So I guess you all are getting ready to make your face mask. I wondered, let me know if you can find face masks in your area. I cannot find them in my area. So that's what caused me to decide to make some, because it's getting real out there and we need to do what we can. It's not playing no more. We had plenty of time, and unfortunately, our leadership did not act, even though they had fair warning, but I'm not going to get into politics. I'm just going to make my little face mask and keep it moving. So let's do that. Okay, so the idea here, what I want to do, and this canvas is actually too thick to fold over. So what I was going to do was make a loop with the elastic, right? And then fold it over here and then just sew a seam down here. But this is really too thick. It's not going to cooperate. So I'm going to have to improvise. I'm still going to make the elastic loop, but I think I'm going to take a second piece of fabric and just, patch on a piece on that side. So I'm looking for my scraps of fabric because I did have some scraps of this same fabric here. So what I'll do is I'll cut 2 pieces so that I can overlay it, and I'll just basically put a little strip from here and just sew that way, because it's going to be too thick to try and. So about yay. And again, I'm eyeballing it. I kind of sew like I cook. I don't use precise measurements for a lot of the stuff that I do. I just kind of wing it, kind of feel it. I'll look at something and kind of dissect how it's constructed and then wing it. That's not necessarily what you should do, but that's what I do. Unless it's something really intricate, I'll follow a pattern. Like if I were making, let's say like a coat or something like that, I would follow a pattern. But something like this, I can, look at it and kind of see how it's made and then, figure it out. So the question now is, how long should we make this elastic? So I'm going to, again, like I said, I'm going to wing it. I'm going to wrap this around my ear, go from my nose to my ear, and then back again, like double it up basically. And I'm going to cut that. So we might have to try it and see. But basically, I'm going to cut 2 pieces, actually, of my elastic. And then I'm going to tie them in a knot and loop it inside. So I have my 2 pieces. And I'm just going to tie the ends in a knot. So I have my two pieces there. And say, for example, we do this and it's too loose, then we'll just, cut it and tie a new knot behind the ear. So no big deal. But I've tied it in a knot there. So what I want to do is I want it to lay like this. So the question is, how can I pin this so that it'll stay while I sew it? I'm going to take some pins and pin it just so it will stay in place until I'm ready to sew that area. Tara, exactly what? What did you say exactly to? And you guys, I decided to go live with while I made these simply because we're all like sheltering in place, right? Um, and I just figured this was a way we could still connect with other people, or this was my way at least, of still connecting with people while we shelter in place. I think I've binge watched all of the YouTube, not YouTube, the Netflix uh, series that I can for now. I'm not a big TV watcher in general. So he said, oh, leadership. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not a big TV watcher in general. So after I finished my little Netflix binging, I was like, okay, um, crafting tends to be therapeutic for me anyway. It's really calming. Um, and I like making stuff. So that's why I call this live craft therapy. Because it's like my therapy. Some people exercise. I wish exercise was my therapy. It used to be. Trying to find my way back to it. Um, but for now, like when I have a lot on my mind, I tend to, even when I don't have a lot on my mind, just in general, crafting, making things chills me out. So I figured, hey, somebody else might want to make some masks for their family as well, or for themselves. And they say that this will help because we're just like we depleted the supplies of toilet tissue across the country. We are depleting the supplies of PPE that the healthcare professionals need. So this, if you look at it that way, we this way we're kind of by making our own masks, we are conserving resources for those that are risking their lives to save ours. So if you make your own math, you're kind of doing good for the nation. Kind of patriotic, right? When you look at it that way. It's actually really funny to me. I saw some of the, I don't know if they're memes or they're for real, but there are some posts on Facebook about people who are getting creative with their face masks or with their their PPE. And one person came out in a scuba diving suit. They were at the grocery store in full scuba gear, including tank. Another person, you know, when you go and buy like bedding and whatnot, the plastic bag with the handle that the bedding duvet comforter set comes in, they had that over their head. Another person had cut out a shape of a, you know, the water bottles that you have in offices. I think he had cut out, I think it might have been a gallon water bottle, but anyway, it was a water bottle. He had cut out the shape for his face and put that on his head. So people are getting really creative with their protective equipment. I'm not gonna go that far. This face mask is, I think, good enough for me. But, and I wonder, those people who are how those pictures that get to social media, is that a setup, right? Are they doing that to be funny and wanting to get, you know, shares and likes, so they do this craziness, or are they really, really thinking that that's protective equipment? That's, you know, one lady had a birthday cone hat on her face, like a duckbill. I'm like, okay, y'all, seriously? I know you're scared. I know you're concerned, and you should be, rightfully so. But really? So let me know, guys. Hey, Kim. So let me know how you guys are staying busy. Oh, why did I do that? Okay. So basically, I didn't need to hold that in place when I sewed the first side, right? Now it will hold it in place. So what are you guys doing to stay sane during the shelter in place? This is how I stay sane. How do you guys stay sane? Let me know. Just tucking this as tight. Making sure my needle stays in there because sometimes it wants to jump out. This might get kind of tight. I should have made this piece a little bit wider. But we're going to try to work through it as best we can. Yeah, so for future, we'll make this piece a little bit wider. All right, so one side down. One to go. And why am I sweating? Ugh, it's getting hot in her. Might be all the lights. Or it might be I might be nervous because I'm on the spot. Gotta make sure this turns out okay. Otherwise, all of my Facebook friends will see me fail. Actually, let's learn from our previous. Well, actually, I don't need this, right? Because I can, and I'm just taking the pins out because come to find out, I don't really need to pin it in place because by the simple fact of sewing one side at a time makes there no need for it. So I'm just going to sew this one side down. Don't forget to backstitch, you guys. It's easy to forget. But that backstitch makes all the difference in your threads not coming loose. And you guys, just because I'm sewing, don't feel intimidated. If you don't have a sewing machine, that is okay. You can still sew it by hand, or it might not last as long. It probably won't last as long, but that fusible web that I showed you earlier, you can use that and just iron your face mask together. You won't be able to wash it as many times because that will fade away after a while. It's meant for a temporary hold, not a permanent hold. There may be such a thing as fusible web that's a permanent hold, but I have not come across it. I haven't looked for it either, but you know. Okay, now this is going to be tricky because this is too close. This pouch is too close. And this is is a little too short. But we're going to try. Anyway, I might have to use the fusible web just to hold it down. Did I run out of, no, I didn't run out. I was like, did I run out of my bobbin thread? I hope not. I should have enough to finish this one. All right, let's see if we can do this last piece. Will this last piece cooperate? Because after this piece, we are finished, actually. So let's see, why are you not going through? What is wrong? What is getting stuck? Let's try it going this way. So something that it didn't like right there. So I'm just tucking it as close. Now you see how, I don't know if you caught that, but the edge of the elastic, the end of the elastic was already starting to fray. And elastic will do that. So for future, you just put a little dab of glue on the end of your elastic, and that way it won't fray. But since we're covering it up in here, we don't have to worry about it as much. And be real careful as you get close. Keep those fingers out of the way. And you guys, we are done. We have made our face mask. And sorry, YouTube, I promise to do better next time. I will have everything set up so you can see, you can have a full view. But we have made our face mask. We have made our face mask with our filter pocket. We have our elastic. Ooh, let's snip off these extra threads. Tidy it up. So we have our filter pocket and we have our nose wire so that it will form around the nose. And you get to have a little flavor and not look like you're rolling up into the hospital. You know how we do. We're always going to customize. We customize everything. So here is your custom DIY face mask with filter pocket and nose wire. So that's it. I'm going to sign off. I hope that you have had some fun with me. And I will talk to you guys next time. If you want some more craft therapy, I can do a session next Sunday too. We don't know how long we're going to be in this shelter in place. So why not keep each other company? Learn some new things. You can learn from me. I can learn from you. Whatever. It's all good. So, all right. I will talk to you guys later. And you have a good evening. Bye-bye.